Guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So I figured out my camera setting and it's not lagging anymore and I can move around and it doesn't look like my camera shutter has like a lag to it. So I definitely hit a setting on my camera and I did not know how to fix it until I watched like a million YouTube videos, and then somebody finally pointed out to me how to turn my shutter speed dial and I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. So my footage is back to normal. Everything looks normal again. So yay for me for figuring that out. As per usual, I have my wicked candle in here making the whole room smell like caramel apples, and we're going to jump into some spooky stories from Reddit. So this is all from one Reddit author. So they are embarrassed_sort5377 and they're all security guard stories. So I'm very excited to read these because I haven't actually read them. I just saved them quickly and asked the author if I could read them and he said yes. So let's jump into them. When I was younger, I didn't really know what to do as a job. Me being naturally a large guy, everyone always joked that I'd make a great security guard. Well, I ended up listening. My job was basically at night going to buildings where the alarm was triggered. Weird stuff happened all the time, but this one really creeped me out. It was like 12:30 and my shift just began. I immediately had to follow up an alarm in a school. So I went there and I checked the outside. Nothing unusual or weird to see, so safe for me to go inside without calling the police. For those who don't know, in an alarm system, you can see certain zones that are triggered. We had them mapped out and we knew where to look. Here, the alarm went off on the first floor hall. I turned on some lights and I walked upstairs. I checked out the alarm sensor and I didn't see any dust or anything that could have triggered it. My eye spotted a book laying in the middle of the hall though. I didn't think much of it, to be fair, as I've seen weirder things than a book. I picked up the book and I laid it on a nearby shelf just before I reset the alarm and I headed back out. The moment I sit back in my car, I hear the noise of the alarm being triggered again. Didn't think anything of it since it's pretty common for sensors to just have issues. But before I surpass the sensor, I have to check again. I headed upstairs to check the same sensor and the damn book is laying in the same spot I first picked it up from off the floor. Needless to say that I bolted down and surpassed the alarm system with all risk included and got the hell out of there. I never told anyone. Years later, when she starts telling me that the same exact thing is happening to him at the exact same school, and he's terrified. Glad I changed my jobs now, never had to deal with the haunted places anymore. I might actually drop a couple more things on here from what I've seen. So they have more posts, so we're gonna go over to their other posts. I worked a while in security and I always heard my colleagues talk about a haunted school. This was the one school that literally everyone hated to go to because of the creepy stuff that was happening. So I started asking questions, but people just answered in short phrases, like, it's really freaking haunted, and you'll see what we mean once you get over there. So actually a year goes by and I kind of forgot about the school. Around 1 a.m., the fire alarm triggers falsely in a school, which is pretty common. I head over there and I turn off the alarm system and I go check out the fire system. It was a mechanical error. So usual protocol is where I just call out a mechanic. Yes, we have the night shift emergency kind because fire alarm is a very high risk. I call dispatch and I summon a mechanic and I sit down in the janitor's hall, the one that had all of the cameras throughout the school. And this is also where the fire panel is located. I take out my phone and I decided to watch a movie while I waited for the guy. As I'm sitting in this little room, right next to me is a common student room, which is very big. It's a massive open square, also going multi-floors up. Needless to say, it echoed like crazy. I was watching the movie, but my eyes kept dragging to the cameras, swearing I kept seeing something change. And there all the time when I wasn't looking. I suddenly noticed that one of the camera screens in the basement light is on. Creepy as hell, because in such an old building, they surely don't have automatic sensors. I decided to walk out to the common room to keep an eye on things and listen to see if I hear something strange. It is absolutely deafening silent. Not even a sound from outside can be heard, which is one of the more odd things considering this school is dead center in a city. The moment I went to walk back to the janitor's room, I heard a sound so loud that I jump up and I froze. It sounded like a table thrown through the school. Imagine the echo it left. It was crazy. Sometimes you get jump scares so bad that the veins in your body tighten so fast that it's actually painful. This was such a moment. I listen, and the seconds after, it becomes quiet for about 10 seconds. I slightly unfreeze, but my whole body sensors are going off. I am 100% tense as hell. That's when I started hearing everything around me. Footsteps on the upper halls, people talking, doors slamming, tables and chairs scratching on the floors. The sounds were definitely inside the building and coming from the higher up floors. That's it. Even my body tells me at this point it was time to go. Every physical feeling in my body told me that it was unsafe. I rushed to the alarm system and I turned off the system, and I went to the little window that showed the janitor's room. I could see the camera screen and the lights in the basement were going crazy. From turning on and off to going brighter to more dimmed. I didn't care at this point about the mechanic who just got called out of bed. I was saving my own ass, it felt like at this point. I turn off the alarm and I drive away. At the moment, the mechanic phones me and says, "Hey, you're probably the new guy, but at night I don't enter that school. And you shouldn't either. That place is haunted. Even your colleagues don't want to go there." That's when I realized this was the school everyone kept talking about. The mechanic wished me a good shift and told me he was going back to sleep. The rest of the night, I was surely staying closer to my colleagues. Everyone knew I went there, but no one asked questions. I got just one comment. "Well, now you know to stay away from there." Unfortunately, this is not the last time I had to go there, and not the only thing I experienced. I'll upload another one about the school another day. Always happy to hear from you guys. So they have another one. Now, I'm working the night with a couple of newbies and interns. I worked quite some time there already, so the company trusted me enough to complete stuff with this team. Knowing that newbies often called for help in the first 2 minutes they would have arrived there, I decided, due to the nature of the call, to just go myself. Just a quick hop in, turn on the alarm, and get out of there. I arrive at the building, and thank God, a sigh of relief when I see 40 or 50 people dancing upstairs. Some half-drunken people standing below. It was a Christmas party. Knowing that I don't have to enter that building completely took my worry away. Also, the reason I've never been caught off guard this much. So, without even grabbing my keys, I just rushed through the main entrance, being greeted by the janitor. Now, this guy looks sober as could be. So the first thing he says was, "Finally, we've been looking for you for 10 minutes. I got completely confused, since I literally stepped out of my car not even 10 minutes ago and was still near the head office. I asked him about this, and he says, "Well, you've been walking around the school like you couldn't find us. We shouted to you about 100 times. At this point, a very intoxicated lady walks up to us and starts chatting up the janitor. She shouts at the top of her lungs that they can finally stop looking. Multiple people who were roaming the school apparently heard someone shout, "Security, where are you?" At this point, I was really confused. Was someone playing a prank on me at the Christmas party? One of the drunk people? No alarm bells ring yet, so I decided to ask the janitor to take me to the principal, as he is listed as a contact person, and I need his permission to take away the timer of the alarm system. And I'll explain one thing about being a security guard. Entering a party with drunk people, the first thing you get is jokes, and everyone is laughing and making a chat at me. Now, I wasn't in a hurry considering that I had just begun my shift, and no other alarms got triggered. So I joke along when suddenly, we get all silenced by a deafening shout that says, "Security." Now, the scary part is, it was my voice. I recognized my own voice very well, since as a hobby, I play video games and I stream them. I hear my voice echoing in my ears. This was me yelling. The thing is, because I was talking there for a minute, some other people realized it was the voice similar to mine. The look on their face gave away that I wasn't them playing a joke on me. I've never seen drunk people go sober in under 1/3 of a second, until now. Feeling strengthened by my company, I told the janitor to join me. He had all the keys, so that was my excuse for him to walk along. I told him we were going to go check who was doing this. We walk into the hall, and there is where I decide to act like I'm totally fine. I shout at the top of my lungs, "We are on the first floor." Well, I am at it, I decided to end with a joking comment. "I am the security guard now." Meanwhile, the principal sobered up very quickly and decided to end the party right there and then. He sent everyone home in under 10 minutes. The dude pressured them like crazy. The thing is, drunk people usually stretch to go home. Here, they went completely willingly and even nervously. Now keep in mind this school is fucking huge. It echoes throughout the mid-open sections and reverbs on every single hallway on every floor. So whoever shouted in the first place must have heard me. It stayed silent, which I didn't like, to be honest, because that would make it less likely to be a pranker from the Christmas party. I hear the last people walk out the door, but the janitor is looking for answers, and he tells me to check out the school with him. He is afraid that maybe one of the students who caught air about the Christmas party sneaked in and was messing around. The backup really gives a false sense of security. We walked top to bottom, since whatever we ran into, can sweep slowly down towards the entry. Little trick against burglars, give them an exit and they will use it. So while we were heading upstairs, we hear above us something drop on the top floor. We get tense and stop for a second. I decided to shout, "Anyone up there? This is security and we're about to close down the building." It goes dead silent. So we go to the top of the stairs and at this point, another sound, this time on the floor below us. This is at the point where we are convinced we are not alone. We decided to exchange phone numbers and sweep both floors at the same time. I mean, this janitor wasn't scared. Guess he didn't know about what was going on in the school. Not totally comfortable with the idea of splitting up in this huge building, I comply anyways. I take the midsection and he takes the top floor. While he is done, he would walk downstairs and phone me while waiting near the entry so we could both sweep the basement. The stairs to the basement was near the main entrance. We were both doing our own section of the building. I hear all kinds of noises at this point. Not being silenced by our chatter, it suddenly becomes much more clear to me that we were being idiots and should have just gotten the hell out of there. I hear the guy suddenly shout up to me, he is done with midsection. Not what we agreed to do, but sure. I came downstairs. I walk to the entry and he is not waiting there. I peek into the basement and I hear him running around. At this point, I walk downstairs and just catch a glimpse of one of the basement doors shutting behind him while I see him through the glass door walking away from me. I want to speed up while my phone starts ringing. At this point, I got a little scared because in common, the basement is scary as hell. I answer the phone expecting it to be dispatch or a colleague or something, but no, it was the janitor. "Hey, I'm done sweeping the midsection and I'm waiting at the entry now." This is what I hear coming through the phone while standing in the basement looking at someone's back, slowly walking through the hallway from me. Holy crap, I am being lured by something into the basement. I bolted upstairs, told him I swept the basement already, and let's get the fuck out of there. He must have noticed that I was terrified. I was sweating like crazy and stuttering, and I've never stuttered a day in my life. And I was pushing him to be quick. He asked me if I was okay, and I told him just to not do any parties there anymore. Seems like he understood because looking at him being pale and not asking any questions further, he quickly took the keys and pushed them into the alarm system. He had a tag on which turns on the alarm system if you hold it near a sensor. The building is old, alarm system's quite new, was replaced after a lot of false triggers. We walk outside the building and have the shivers running down our spines. We look up at the building and on the top floor, it looks like a figure is standing in the window. We didn't see it move. We couldn't totally be certain what it was, but my last comment was, whatever it is, if it moves, it will trigger the alarm. And at that point, it's a problem for the police. The last comment actually is a great reference to my next experience with the school. Yes, at some point, the police did get involved in all of this. Oh my God, this is freaking terrifying. Okay, here's the continuation. In the last post, I mentioned the Christmas party. For a while, I was not going there, so it took about 5 to 6 months before I set foot in that school again. The reason why, it was summer and on a weekend shift. It was evening and it was still light out. Now the evenings and the weekends are much calmer. We had maybe 10 customers for a whole day we needed to go do random checkups and the rest were free for alarms. 3 colleagues for 10 customers is a lot, and we had some days where we were just extremely busy. Now, we had multiple shift leaders, and one was working this day with me. He was working the main alarm car, the contact for dispatch, and was his second hand. We were sitting outside the office when we got a phone call. The third colleague was getting some food, so it was just me and this shift head. Dispatch gave an alarm for our favorite customer, the haunted school. Now, there was one more issue with this school. That is that children who go there often throw bricks through the windows of the school. Yes, the school is dead center of the city, and it's very big. On the front side of the school, there are just regular houses. On the back, a small park. On the sides, there are other buildings, and I think some company from what I can remember. The alarm we got was multiple detectors went off and all in sequence. This usually means that someone is walking inside. Now, when dispatch sees this, they automatically call the police. I mean, we are not armed, so slightly irresponsible to go without backup in such situations. The shift head gets excited and tells me to join him, that we were gonna go scare some kids. We both take a car and drive to the school. We both park out front of the building, and when we came there, police were already waiting for us. They had parked their cars at the back of the school in the little park. The reason they waited for us is because we have the keys. They locked down the building and we basically opened the door for them so they can check out what's going on. It's normal that we join them inside for a simple reason that we are often very familiar with the buildings, especially important with bigger ones. My shift lead proposes, considering the size of the school, that I take a cop and he takes a cop, and we work through the zones that gave alarms. Now, the first sensor that went off was an emergency door, making it very likely that someone entered the building. Then it led through some halls. Guess what it led to? Right into the basement. Now, I don't know who would be stupid enough to do that, but sure. The plan we had is that we enter the basement near the emergency door, and my colleague and a cop enter the basement near the main entrance. The thing is, the emergency door was still closed. Now, that on its own is strange, because if you let go of the door, it basically shuts itself and locks. That's just how they are built. But the last zone that gave an alarm was the basement, basically meaning that someone is in there without anywhere to go. If the person would have walked back, dispatch would have seen the last zone give an alarm to the emergency exit again. So we enter the basement. Me and the cop go down and walk entirely through. We checked every corner, and it was empty. The thing is, we never ran into my colleague or the other cop either. So we end up on the other side, back to the near main entrance. At this point, the colleague from the cop asks over the radio, "Where are we?" We said that we walked entirely through and ended up at the main entrance, basically reverting the question, "Where are you?" They were still in the basement. They only entered from the one side that we did. When we walked downstairs and they started moving to the main entrance, the ground floor level, also go down to the stairs, they turned around and followed us. They explained later that they heard us shout from them to come back. We never shouted anything. We waited near the main entrance and we heard a loud as hell scream. It was definitely inside the building. I made a comment that it was probably just my colleague playing a prank, but right when I said that, my colleague and the cop came upstairs asking what the scream was. And that scream definitely didn't come from the basement. At this point, the cops freak out and call in for backup. Now, in the Netherlands, when something like this happens, they call in a whole damn circus. We are talking 8 cops and a kind of shift lead of them. A captain, or something it would be in English, I guess. But when they suspect someone is in the building, they also bring dogs. We were waiting outside on command of the cops till everyone arrived. The dog is here, so everyone who is there is posted in a different section of the school. We are talking everyone at the turning point of the stairs or the emergency door or the back door of the main entrance. It was positioned in the most left stairwell turning point. I was standing like in between floors, so I could see a cop below near the main entrance and a cop above in the hallway near some other door. I felt fine right in the middle. At this point, we were required to be silent, since the policeman with the dog took leads from there on. He shouted through the building that there is a dog about to be sent and you better make yourself known or surrender. Well, we did get a response. A bang loud enough for everyone to hear, but no one to specify where it came from. Now, I'm standing on the left side and I can see my colleague near the main entrance, kind of looking surprised. We were standing for about 5 minutes in dead silence until we get a call back. What's going on? The dog refused to enter the building and put up one hell of a fight for the owner not to cross the main entrance. The dog knew. Well, that led to a change of plans. First, listen if we hear anything, and then spread out through the building and find the person. At this point, my shift lead already came walking close to me and softly mentioned that they're not going to find anything. Not here. 2 cops down in the big open space, in the student common room, just listening. Everyone is dead silent, but we hear a shit ton of noise. Cops kept asking their colleagues outside if there really wasn't someone outside messing around. But outside, they didn't hear anything. The thing is, with so many people, you feel a lot more secure, and I was just happy that the school was searched top to bottom. Fun fact, one cop found a hidden room made by students, assuming with help of teachers who wanted to make an escape room. The cop had to ask for help to get out. Now from the outside comes a call over the radio. There are 2 cops at either end of the top floor, but in the middle is a person walking. Both cops rush to the middle, only to meet each other and no one else. Every cop in the building rushes upstairs at this point, only to hear a loud bang downstairs again. At this point, we are chasing air. The next idea was basically turn on the alarm system and wait it out. If the person would move, an alarm would trigger. Well, it didn't. It stayed completely silent. The cops basically said, "We got more to do and we're leaving. If the alarm triggers, we'll make sure at all times a car is nearby." My colleagues, however, wanted to go back inside because we all headed out with the plan to return back, and we left all inside doors open unlocked. So here we go, just the two of us now. I had a set of keys from my car. We decided to rush and do it as fast as possible. We walked inside, and for 2 seconds, we turned off the alarm and stood in the entry when another loud as hell scream sounded through the school. My colleague's never been this quick with turning on an alarm system and now took a big leap getting outside. I followed in his footsteps. That scream felt like it was right in our face. Felt like it meant you are definitely not welcome. We left all the in-between doors open, well knowingly that the customer is phoning dispatch tomorrow again to complain about it, and we didn't care. We spent another 20 minutes in front of the main entrance just trying to listen through the front door. The occasional loud bangs and screams coming through the glass door ended up sending us off. I haven't been here for a very long time after that, remembering what I mentioned in an earlier post that I'm not sending interns here. Well, from this point, I did, but he ended up biting me in the ass. I'll explain in the next post why. And they don't have any more posts up yet, so I will update once they update more because these stories are absolutely wild and so fucking terrifying. I cannot imagine going into a school as a security guard and like chasing something, but it's literally like invisible. You can't catch it. It's just like 1 minute it's upstairs screaming, the next minute it's downstairs banging. Like either that was multiple people and it was really, really good at hiding, or they're dealing with a pretty powerful entity, but the screaming freaks me out. I can't imagine being in a building with that many people and you all hear just a deafening scream. That is terrifying. But these stories are really, really scary, and oh my God, this is terrifying. I'm so excited for an update, and I will definitely update you guys once the Reddit author updates, but that's all I have for now. So this is where I'm gonna end the story. So if you guys made it to the end of the stories, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Leave me a policeman emoji or a security guard emoji. Leave me anything that is on theme with these stories. And if you guys have any spooky stories you want to share with me, please feel free to message me either over Instagram, over my email, and I will definitely get to your guys' stories as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.